This video was originally part of a Udemy series, and I've decided to make it available for free for you right here on YouTube. This is Lecture 1 of Session 1, and it's called Spaced Repetition. There's a reason why I wanted to do this lecture first, and the reason is spaced repetition may be one of the most important theories in all of marketing. You see, if you can master just this one idea, you'll be well on your way to mastering most of the fundamentals of marketing. And a lot of things like why would you want to be on Facebook will suddenly begin to make sense. So let's do this. A friend of mine named David Wright, well, he's an expert marketeer, and he says spaced repetition isn't just one way we learn, it's the only way we learn. Now, what is spaced repetition? Do you remember back when you were in school and your teacher would show you a flashcard and it would have a B or a letter on it? Now, she would show you that card again a few minutes later, and it made you pull that information out of your memory. Then she would lengthen the interval between when you saw that same flashcard again, and pretty soon you had to reach way into your long-term memory in order to pull that information out. That's spaced repetition. Now, the question becomes, why is that interesting to us in marketing? And the answer is you need to teach your potential customers three things. They need to know who you are, what you do, and the benefit of using you. Let me give you another example of spaced repetition. I travel quite a bit, and so I took a Pimsleur language course. Ja nie pini mają po-ruski. But that's not Pimsleur's fault. They use the same basic technique, and what they'll do, you play the lesson and they'll say a phrase to you in English. Then you repeat the phrase back in the language you're trying to learn. And eventually they'll stretch that out until 2 or 3 lessons later, your mind's on something completely different. And out of the blue, they ask you what the phrase is. And once again, you're required to pull that out of your long-term memory. Pretty soon, you know those particular phrases. Now, I'm not going to ask you to use a technique that I'm not willing to use myself. Here's the front of my catalog. Notice the colors and styles, not just the logo. It matches the style of the business card, and that in turn matches the colors and styles on the website. It goes far beyond just the logo. You'll also notice the photograph of me I have used for about 3 years now. It was taken at the Kremlin Palace, and in a year or two, I'm sure I'll change it around. I'll even recycle some text. Why? Because I want the customer to remember who we are. That is spaced repetition. And think about it this way. If you're a small business person, you're going to be lucky if you get all those impressions in. Now, that brings up another question. How many impressions are you trying to get? Well, the answer, it turns out, is if you're looking for short-term memory, you need to make 3 impressions, both audio and visual, and the person will remember you for the next day or so. Now, long-term memory is what we're really interested in. It turns out Harvard says you need about 5.5 impressions. Of course, you can't have a half impression. So you need your customers to see something 6 times before they'll remember who you are. Now, if you're like me, you'll just assume, okay, we'll hang 6 signs around the store and be done with it. Nah, it doesn't work that way. The mind has to reset. They have to think about something else, and then they can come back to you. Make sense? Of course, if you have any questions, you can always call me. Now, if you do that, how are you going to get 6 impressions in? That's where some of the social media stuff comes in. Think about email marketing. It works on 2 levels, like all good marketing. See, not only are you telling them what your special this week is, you're also going to tell them who you are, what you do, and the benefit of using you. By the way, you're going to hear me use those phrases many times throughout those course because that's what you're trying to get across to your customer. It's that benefit of doing business with you. Guys, I hope some of this was helpful for you, and it's really important. Take it to heart. If you need to hear this a second time, spaced repetition, go ahead, play it back, because it is a fundamental foundation idea for all of your marketing. Listen, if you have a question, contact me. Take care. I'll see you in the next lecture.